Okay, finally we are going to learn The Hustle. And The Hustle is my favourite song and it's my favourite dance. So let's do this. So I'm going to show you what we do to start, okay? So it's kind of like line dancing. So let's go. So you go 1, 2, 3, clap. 1, 2, 3, clap. Okay, so that's not too hard, is it? So you go back, 2, 3, clap. Front, 2, 3, clap. Side, 2, 3, clap. Side, 2, 3, clap. And then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you go turn and do. So you go kind of 5, 6, and you're hipping around. You do the same thing again. So it's kind of like a thing you guys call the Macarena, where you jump to different positions. But let's try it with some music, okay? 2, 3.
Do the hustle! Do the hustle! Do the hustle!
Woo! Okay, you guys are far out. Peace. Well, thank you, Moonbeam, for showing us around. I hope you enjoyed your trip to the 70s.
Hi, my name's Olivia. And my name is Clodagh. And today we're going to be making a stop motion film with cutout characters. We're going to be using an app called Stop Motion Studio, which you can get for free on your phone or tablet. So we'll start with the characters. Now, to make your characters, first, you're going to need a piece of card. Now, cereal boxes are perfect for this, but any card you have at home will do. You'll also need a pair of scissors, some colors, and a pencil. You're also going to need some paper fasteners and a hole punch if you're going to give your characters moving limbs, because everything moves in stop motion. Your characters don't necessarily have to have moving parts, but if they do, it's very important that you draw those separately and make them thick enough for a pin like this one to go through. Okay, so I'm drawing a cat and I'm doing it in pencil in case I make a mistake. You can go over it again in pen later if you want. And here, Olivia is also drawing a cat and just making sure that you have your limbs and any movable parts big enough that you can fit your pins through. So, when you're colouring in, it's probably better to use markers or colouring pencils, because they're much tidier. Definitely not paint, it's way too messy. Take your time when you're doing this. It's really important that you get your shapes just perfect. If you cut into your shapes, you're going to have to start all over again. And of course, be really careful with the scissors. We made the legs separate from the rest of the body so we can put a little pin through it. Then we'll attach it to the rest of the body so it can be moved. So next we move on to our hole punch. We put a hole through the limb of our character. Then we put a hole in the main character's body where we want the hole to meet. We put a pin through the two holes and we secure the pin like so. And then we have a moving limb on our character. Simple as that. If you're doing a backdrop, you might like to make it look realistic. For a floor, road or tiles curving into the background, slant your vertical lines towards the center, like so. And space out your horizontal lines further and further as you get near the bottom, like so. This will give our artwork perspective, which is how we tell if things are near or far away. This creates the illusion of an actual room. Next, we get our glue stick and we apply it to the back of our floor. We'll turn it around and stick it to a bigger sheet. And now you can see our set is finally starting to take shape. We have a floor and 2 walls, and you can decorate these in whatever way you like. That's all for now, but come back next time and we'll show you how to use the Stop Motion Studio app to bring your artwork to life. See you soon! Hi, I'm Clodagh. And I'm Olivia. Welcome back to our stop motion tutorial. Last time we told you how to make your character with moving limbs and how to add your background with perspective. Now we're going to be taking you through the Stop Motion Studio app and show you how to bring your artistic creation to life. So let's get going. Stop motion animations are made up of lots of pictures with slight differences. For example, in each picture a character might move forward slightly when all these pictures are played together in rapid sequence, it looks like the character is actually moving as if it were alive. Here we have our phone placed in an aerial view so you can see the backdrop completely. And our characters are on the set, ready to go. But before we start recording, let us show you how to use the Stop Motion Studio app.
It should look a bit like this. Press install to get it. It's going to take a minute to load, so you'll have to be patient. Once you get it, and it sets everything up, you're going to see a cute little chameleon like this one. Then press Get Started. There will be a sample movie there. Click New Movie and allow it to take pictures and record audio. This is the camera button. You take pictures of it. This is the timer button. You can set the pictures to be taken every 5 or 10 seconds, depending on how long you need to set it up. This is very handy if you don't have time to click the button.
The timer allows you to put your sole focus on moving the characters, and it also shows you how long it is before the next shot. This allows you to adequately time your movements.
Over on the left side of your screen, you have a slider. This can change the opacity of the frames, which makes it see-through. This is called an onion skin. It means that you can see what the last frame was like, which is very important, as in stop motion, movement needs to be as small as possible.
Over here on the right is the play button. You can see how your project's turning out so far by clicking it. It shows you all your little pictures strung together to make the movie.
Up here, we have the back button. You can go back to the main menu of your project and see every single frame. If you make a mistake, like putting your hand in the way for instance, by tapping on a frame, you get a menu showing everything you can do with it. For example, you can delete frames or copy them and paste them to make a bit longer. If you press the settings button, you have some other options as well, like changing how many frames are played per second, the quality of the movie, the background, and the foreground. By selecting the project like this and pressing share, you can export the movie. You can share it on social media or just save it to your camera roll. You press save to do this. The app will take a minute to download it.
Here we have the timer set to take our photos. So we move our characters, wait a few seconds, and move again. You do this as many times as you need to tell your story. And move again. Make sure your movements are very small and slow so the video comes out clearly. You have to pay attention during this part, but it's worth it. And move again. And this is what your screen should look like when you're recording. Now we're finished, so let's take a look at what we've done. We hope you enjoyed the stop motion tutorial. You can send in your stop motion creations to rte.ie/learn. We'd love to see them.
I'm Noontor Emer. I hope you are standing up and you're ready to go for some exercise with Emer. Thank you so much to everyone that has sent in videos for some more ideas for my exercise class. I really appreciate it. Today, I'm going to take some really cool moves that Susie from Sligo sent in. A big shout out and a thank you to Susie with your help with today's lesson. Okay, let's go. Some of you probably already know, but basketball is my favorite sport. So I started when I was about 12 years old, and you won't believe this, but I actually ended up playing basketball for Ireland. It was so cool. But it's things like this, all these exercises that we're doing here every day, and all the different skills that got me there. Practice, 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 and hard work. And of course, some fun. Okay, how are we feeling? I'm gonna do a few little tricks. You can do these at home too. This really helps with your basketball skills. You get really familiar with the ball and really confident. A few little around the waist and back and forth. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're going to have a slight bend in our knee, and we're gonna get the ball, we're gonna reach down, so keep them as straight as you can, but just with a little slight bend, and you're gonna reach down, so you should feel this pull in your hamstrings. You're gonna touch the ground, you're gonna come back with it, and then you're gonna reach for the sky. Okay, ready? Let's go. So reach down, up, keep the legs straight as you can, but just a tiny little bend. Now you should really feel this in the backs of your legs and your hamstrings. That's where I'm feeling it, a really long stretch. Okay, let's go. This is good. Good job, keep going. Only a few more seconds left. Well done. Keep it up. All right, beauty. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna march on the spot, quick as you can. And while we're doing that, we're gonna go around our waist with the ball, up around our head, and we'll go down to our legs, okay? All right, ready? Let's go. Okay, quick as you can, around the waist. Imagine it's a hot potatoes. It's hot, it's hot, it's hot, 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 hot. Change your direction. Yeah, good job, keep it up now. This is a really good skill to do at home. And all you need to do is just stand in your own spot and have a ball and do these. And you get really confident with the ball and much more familiar, okay? It can help you then when you're trying to practice your dribbling. Okay, well done. All right, we're gonna sit down into a squat now and we're gonna roll the ball back and forth to ourselves. So remember with our squat, we wanna sit back as if there's an imaginary chair there. So we sit right back into the chair, okay? Making sure our knees don't go over our toe. And what I want to do is, when we are here, we're gonna go back and forth like this with the ball, okay? So use your fingertips to do that. Now, this stance is also really important for basketball, because in defense, this is usually where you are, so you can stop players from scoring on you. So practicing this is really good. All right, we ready? Let's do this. Go. I can already feel a burn. Feels good though. Basketball players have to have really strong quad muscles. It's really important because you spend a lot of time down here in this position when you're playing defense. And when you're doing things like this with the ball, it helps you to get really familiar with the ball and more comfortable, so it actually helps improve your ball handling skills as well. Okay, keep it up. I know it burns, but we're nearly there, and time. Well done, super, my basketballers, well done. Okay, we're gonna get into a march, and this time with the ball, we're gonna go out, into our chest, up in the air, back down, and continue. All right, ready, go. I'm gonna actually, I think, jog this one. So really get those feet pumping. Yes, we should feel this in our biceps. And guys, right here. Keep going, really nice. Really good job. From the side, just so you see. Keep up with me, okay? Keep going, don't give up. We can do this. Really good, keep going. Well done. Okay, now we're gonna put the ball on the ground. And what I want you to do is to bring your knee up, and then you're gonna bring it out and over. Okay, so it goes up, out, and over. All right, are we ready? Oh, don't forget, be very, very careful when you're doing this because I don't want anybody to fall over the ball and hurt themselves, okay? So be safe. Biggie Kermuk. Right, ready? And go. Nice. Open out that hip. So come to here, open out the hip. Open out that hip, it's a nice little stretch as well. Open it out. Up and over. Really good, guys, really good. Keep going. Lovely stuff. Well done, keep going, keep going. Whoa, my balance. Keep your balance, remember, find a spot and focus on the spot to keep your balance. Okay, super. Woo, well done, that was so much fun.
Hi, I'm Kieran,
And I'm Emer.
and we're here to teach you about coding. Computer coding plays a huge part in our everyday lives. Coding is how games like Fortnite or apps like TikTok are made. Code is used to control devices too. Everything from washing machines to self-driving cars.
If you learn to code, you'll be able to create amazing projects. Anything from a website to a weather station. Coding also helps you learn other skills like problem solving and maths in a fun and exciting way. We're going to start by looking at a website called Scratch. On this website, you can learn how to code by creating cartoons and games.
So, let's get started. Be sure to ask your parents to help you with this first part. The address for Scratch is scratch.mit.edu. When Scratch loads, you'll see the Scratch gallery full of games and animations for you to explore. The first thing we need to do is to join Scratch so we can save our games. Click the Join Scratch button. First, we must choose a username. Scratch will tell you not to use your real name, so make one up. Next, create a password. Pick one you will remember.
This is really important because I forget mine all the time.
After that, we select the country. I'm in Ireland, so I select it from the list. Next, choose the month and year you were born. If you wish, you can select your gender, or if you prefer not to say, that's okay too. Finally, you need an email address. Ask your parent to help you here. If you forget your password, you need your email address to get back into your account, so it is important to get it right. Whew. Now you are ready to go. Don't worry, you only have to do this once. Click Get Started and email will take you through a tour of Scratch.
Once you click Get Started, the Scratch homepage will appear. You will see a selection of projects that have been coded by other kids just like you. To start our first project, we're going to the top left of the screen and clicking Create. Scratch uses coding blocks, so building a game in Scratch is a lot like solving a puzzle or playing with Lego. To the left of the screen, you will see the colored blocks. Each block is an instruction that we will use to make the game. Because there are so many different blocks, they are grouped into colors. The first group we see is the motion group. This is blue and it controls movement. We can switch between groups by clicking the colored dots. The purple controls how characters look, the pink controls sound, and we will look at the other groups later.
The middle of the screen is where we build our code. This is called the scripts area, and as you can see, it is blank when we start off. There are two parts to the right of the screen. On top is the stage where all the action happens. Under that is the sprite area. Sprite is the name given to any characters or objects in a computer game. Any characters or objects in your game will appear here. Scratch will give you one sprite to start your game. The cat.
Meow!
No, Emer, it won't say that. It'll say, hello world. Today, we are going to create a script that will have the cat walk and talk to you.
Start by clicking on the block that says Move 10 steps. Hold down the mouse button and drag it into the scripts area in the middle of the screen. If you double click on the block, you will notice the cat moves 10 steps to the right. To move the cat back, we can click on the cat, hold down the mouse button and drag it around the stage. Next, I'm going to click on the purple circle to show the look blocks. In looks, I find the block Say Hello. Do not use the Say Hello for 2 seconds block, as that is different. I'm going to click and drag this under the Move 10 steps block until it clicks into place. I can write whatever I like it to say in the block. When learning a new coding language, coders often like to write a program that says Hello World, so I'm going to do that today.
Next, we're going to animate the cat so its legs move when it moves. On top of the blocks, there are 3 tabs. I'm going to show you how to use the costume tab for the cat. The cat has 2 costumes. Its legs are different in both. If I go back to the code tab, I can see a block called Next Costume. I will connect this at the bottom of my other 2 blocks. Now, when I click the blocks, the cat legs move. It would be a pain having to click the cat every time you want it to move, and that is where controls come in. I am going to click the circle for the control blocks. In the control blocks, you will find the Repeat 10 block. You will notice this block is not shaped like the others. This is a C-shaped block that goes around other blocks. This block will make the set of instructions you wrap around it to repeat. If the cat walks 10 steps, 10 times, how many steps has it taken, Emer?
Ooh, that's a hard one, Kieran. I'm going to go with 100 steps because 10 times 10 is 100.
Wow, winner winner chicken dinner.
Now I'm going to show you the last block you need. On top of the stage, there is a green flag and a red stop sign. These are used to stop and start the game. If you want your code to work when the game starts, we have to tell Scratch this by using a block from the events group. Click on the events circle and find the When Green Flag Clicked block. You will notice this is a different shape to the other blocks we have used. The top is rounded. You can't click anything on top of it. This block must always be at the top of our scripts, so we call it a hat block. Add the When Green Flag Clicked block to the top of your script. Congratulations! You just finished your first project.
Saving in Scratch is easy, but first we should give our project a name. I'm going to call it Hello World. Once we have named our project, click File, then you should see Save Now. And now, you're done.
Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Will, and I'm your own personal artist to teach you that absolutely everybody can draw. Now, today we're going to talk about storytelling and the most powerful tool in the universe. You might be wondering, what exactly is the most powerful tool in the universe? It's this, a pencil. Everything that we create on the planet starts with this. The fastest cars, the biggest ships, the tallest skyscrapers, they all begin as ideas in our mind and they're sketched out onto a piece of paper with a pencil. And that's just the things that are real. With our imagination, we can create anything, draw anything, and go absolutely anywhere we want with this. So one of the best things about a storyteller is that I get to design whatever I want on whatever character I want. You know, I decided that she likes Vikings and she likes building as well, so she's got like a builder's belt with all of her tools inside in it. Whereas Tig, I think he should like dinosaurs and ninjas and samurais, so that's the kind of costume parts I'm going to put onto him here. So you can get this exact image on rte.ie/learn. And I would encourage you to put whatever type of costume details you want to put on. Like if you like hurling, maybe they're wearing a hurling helmet or something like that. So again, like yesterday's lesson, I'm going to break down these costume elements into very, very simple shapes. One of the things that both VA and Tig have is this little symbol here. Because to me, and in the story I want to tell, they're in a superhero team. So it's just a circle. And the buckles are just rectangles. So let's start with those. Then samurais wear these cool shoulder armors, which are basically rectangles. So I'm going to put 2 rectangles here. Then the same on the other side. So far, we've drawn rectangles and circles. We're finding the simple shapes to draw these cool costume elements. So Tig is a big fan of dinosaurs, and both VA and Tig can go wherever they want with our imagination. So Tig has collected some dinosaur teeth as his belt, and the shape that they are triangles. Remember, you can put whatever you want in your costume. So what else is cool? Astronauts. Let's give them a pair of space boots. So let's start off with 2 circles for knee pads. And another circle for the side of his boot. And then we can just trace around the drawing that I gave you to draw the shape of the boot. Now I'm going to add what's called some secondary details there. So we have the shapes. So I'm going to draw some more details on the boot to make it look cooler. So let's draw a little line on the front of each boot. And then let's add some little details with more lines. Basically, we're giving the boot a pattern. Now, I want to give him some gloves, and to show a glove, I want to have a rectangle at the top of the gloves and a little semicircle for where his fingers come out. And finally, I want to give him a bandana. So 2 semicircles for where the bandana wraps around his head, and then some more semicircles which will connect at the end to show the ends of the bandana flowing in the wind. Now the next tip is a bit of a pro tip. This is something I always do to make my drawing look a little bit better, and it comes back to practice. I usually lightly erase everything that I've drawn and I draw over the second time. And remember, practice makes perfect. So what did we learn? Number one, always practice, practice, practice. So number two, find the simple shapes. We had loads of simple shapes yesterday, we've loads more again today. We gotta find the simple shapes that these characters are made up of to help us draw them. And our new lesson today is about storytelling, and that we can do whatever we want with our characters, and the most important thing out of any of this is your own imagination. So have fun practicing, and I can't wait to see what you draw.